Okay, welcome. On today's show, more dumb TikToks, the dog Santa, crazy raccoons and insane squirrels, smelly airplane
Mm.
food, Gen X slang, and another funny Florida fiasco. Let's get to it. Hello and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff, and those two wrinkly old miscreants, that's Paul and that's Mike. Good afternoon,
Good
boys.
afternoon, Jeff.
Old People This Week is a podcast for super intelligent, engaged baby boomers. Every week we give you the hot stories, the gossip, the celebrity news that you need to know so you'll sound smart when you're hanging out, playing pickleball, playing mahjong at Mike's house with his wife and he, or hanging out, of course, at happy hour where you'll find Mike every Friday night working the elbow till it's falling off.
One smooth motion.
One smooth motion. All right, anyway, we'll get going here. We had a good comment, a viewer by the name of Velinas, Velinas. I don't know if that's male, female, or whatever, wrote to us after he or she saw the story that we did last week on those two super drunk, hammered Gen Z women in Thailand, or in the ones that were being toted around in a wheelbarrow. I called them drunken Gen Xers, and Velinas said, no, no, no. They're 19 and 23 years old, so they're not Gen X. The youngest Gen X would have been born in 1979, so that would make them at least 44 years old. These tourists that we were mocking would be Gen Z. So
Ah,
thank you, Linus. That's a valuable lesson for us. Not that we care that much.
I was going to say, boy, that's a lot of energy on something we don't give a rat's ass about.
We have botched that up on every show. Frankly, until Mike and I have been doing the show for a year now. For 6 months, anybody that was not our age, I just called them millennials. I didn't even know there was
Yeah,
Gen anything.
yeah, they're just younger than we are. That's what pisses us off.
Anything that's after a boomer, who cares?
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. All right, so we're going to hop back into another thing from last week's show, the controversy that was raging over that video of that woman who's dancing. Paul and I rather said that the woman was wearing some kind of costume that she constructed to make it look like they were fingernails on her
Yeah.
Yeah,
head and on her hands and legs. All right, I'll show it to you right now, viewers, and you can make the call because Mike, who was probably drinking heavily before he made this thing, thought that
usually.
thought that they were oven mitts. So let's take a look. Here we go. Okay.
See,
Now,
they're oven mitts. They're oven mitts just made to look like
I agree with
fingernails.
that statement.
okay.
Yeah. They're
You
oven.
do?
They're
Okay.
yeah, because I showed it to Louise and she goes, "Oh, they're oven mitts and they're disguised as fingernails and it's kind of creepy."
Yeah,
Oh, that's it. No, wait a minute. Now, first of all, this is an oven mitt from my house. This is an
love
oven mitt.
prop.
It's
that's a
an oven.
I
that's
love
a
props.
that looks like a hand puppet.
No, no,
That's
no.
not
It's
an
a,
oven
but
mitt.
it's a oven mitt, and it's a big oven mitt. I mean, it's not one of those little ones you just hold in the little squares. But this thing is not big enough to go over anybody's head like hers does. There's no way. It's gonna mess my
Well,
hair up.
maybe that's the shortest woman in the world doing the
She'd have
dance.
to
You
have
never know.
short. She'd have to have a pinhead to go fit inside of this thing. Just because you and Paul have the heads of, you have big corks, you guys have big basketball heads.
Yeah, I'm
Nobody
sticking
would
by.
fit into
I'm
that.
sticking by my story. Those are oven
No.
mitts.
Well, your viewers, if you're watching this, please text us and send us an email and tell us what you think because I think that they're not oven mitts, and nobody has oven mitts that big you can stick your feet into and your head into. So you guys are nuts. All right, the second thing from last week that caused some controversy, at least in my mind, we were making fun of that Justin Sun, who's the bonehead Gen Zer who paid $6 million for that banana
Right.
art. And we also found out that he paid several $1 million to have lunch with Warren Buffett, which
Yeah,
why? Who cares? I said if I was gonna pay any money to have lunch with anyone, I would pay good money to have lunch with Christy Brinkley, and who I admire, greatly, except for their lapse of judgment when she made that idiot Billy Joel. So I was, personally, I've never met her, and I think about her a lot,
That's what worries me. That's what worries me. No wonder you close the door to the studio so Valerie can't hear you.
It's not jealous of Christy Brinkley. So then, and all of a sudden, Paul pulls out a picture, sends us a picture of he and Christy Brinkley. But by the way, if you look at this picture, I'm showing it here. That is not Christy Brinkley. That's some freaking. You had somebody get in there and you're pretending that's Christy Brinkley.
Circa 1982. That's Christy Brinkley.
How did you meet Christy
Because
Brinkley?
I worked on AM Los Angeles.
And she was a guest?
Of course. There were many guests I had photos with. I have like Heather Locklear when she's 21, which is a great then and now photo.
And she
Heather Locklear.
she was hotter than Christy
Yeah,
Brinkley, by
thank
the
you,
way.
Mike. Yes, I agree.
By the way, I'm going to show a picture of Heather Locklear, what she looks like
Yeah.
now.
Oh my gosh.
You won't say
I'll
that.
send you the. Yeah. It's sad.
So TikTok news. A panel of 3 judges denied TikTok's petition to overturn a new law that requires its parent company, ByteDance, to sell the app to a non-Chinese company by January 19th or face a ban in the United States. I don't know how I feel about this. We make fun of TikTok every week, but of course it's become 30% of our podcast, so I don't know how I feel about saying goodbye to TikTok. One person, I read this quote, it got me laughing because this person goes, I'm like shaking, I'm so mad, I'm so anxious because TikTok changed my life.
Oh,
Sounds
yeah,
like a
yeah.
TikTok.
And there's the very point. Get a friggin' life.
And these
TikTok.
so-called creators, I don't know why they call them creators, I don't know what they're I guess they're creating videos, but there's not much creation going on when they're just putting videos of themselves doing stupid things. Mike, you sent me the thing with the social media star Brittany Borowski, who says the real power of content creators comes with the community, not the followers.
Yeah, what's the difference?
Well, what's the difference is I looked her up. She has 7.5 million TikTok followers. Okay, she got to be famous with one of them. And her first one is where she taped herself with her iPhone, tasting kombucha for the first time, and it went it went mega viral. And so here it is.
It really smells like a public restroom. It smells like a public restroom. You know what? No. Well.
So as you can see, it's just simply her tasting kombucha and reacting to it. It got millions of followers, and now she's still doing it. So to go back to, I don't see. Well, there's a lot of things I don't understand. First of all, they're not creators. Don't call yourself creators. Don't be pontificating. And secondly, I don't see what China gives a crap about Brittany Borowski tasting kombucha for. What is that going to do?
Yeah, it's terrifying that many people found that interesting. I mean, it's no wonder this nation ranks 13th in the world in educational quality. If that's the subject matter that has them enthralled, Jesus Christ. That's
without it, you won't be able to see scintillating content like this. First one here, this rocks music. Watch this.
No, that's a Korean girl who needs to find the restroom very badly.
How do you know it's Korean, by the way? Yeah, she needs to find a restroom.
I like her left hand gesture, especially in that video. I don't know what the hell it is that's a problem, but that left hand gesture is exceptional.
Yeah, it looked dangerous to me. I wouldn't be the one to be the guy dating her. You wouldn't see that with that finger. No. Yeah. And secondly, here's this a woman who there's about 7 billion videos on YouTube and everywhere else of people who drive erratically in golf carts, and this one is no different.
it into your house.
Yeah, there she is, driving
Doink.
up and doing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
My Ring doorbell never gets anything that interesting. I go by Rick's house, by the way, Mike. My next door neighbor is named Rick Paul, and he's got a Ring doorbell out there. And I make a point of every single time I go by it, which is twice a day when I'm walking the dog, I go up to that thing and I do something obscene into the camera, where the thing is. Just to fuck with him.
There's your TikTok entry.
No, that's him, right? He probably posting it.
Yeah.
And here's a guy who clearly never bowled in his life, but let's give him credit for his dance moves. Here he is. Gutter ball.
I'd have thrown my whole right side out. That would have been terrible.
So this is a complete throwback, but it's like, I can't remember the year now, but there used to be a network called the Nashville Network. And I did a show for them once that was called Rock and Bowl. I even had a professional bowl. I laid across the lane and we built a ramp. I remember this. And I was half out of my mind. And I laid across the bowling alley, and the guy threw the ball like a pro bowler at world speed, right towards my head, and it went right over my head. I remember that. Like, I was like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
You said you were just half
I
out
was
of your
no,
mind? You were
I was
totally
not
nuts.
well.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stunts that we pulled. Thought we could get away with. All right, and our last brilliant TikTok, another one of our Gen Zers decided to show us what happens when you set the end of a piece of a clump of lettuce, no, not lettuce, celery on fire. Here.
Ow, 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 ow.
Boom.
Boom. That's kind of funny, at least. It gets up and he runs away. That shows that shows some creativity. The guy had to do some editing, some special effects, to turn that
Yeah, a little animation there.
a little animation to make that run. So
He's got a future.
yeah, future. So honestly, I'm not in favor of banning TikTok. I think that it's just too stupid. I mean, Chinese are not going to be able to glean too much information other than that. There's two generations of Gen X and Gen Z who are absolutely not going to do anything if the China troops come across the border.
Yeah.
They know that. They'll try to make videos about it.
Well, and I mean, the damage is already done.
Yeah.
Trust me.
You guys know I have a dog that it's like you guys is a miscreant. It's this big chocolate colored, so purported to be a lab. I'm not sure, but it's by the name of Truman that my wife, absolutely adores. And she sends it down every once in a while to doggy daycare in the little town where we live. Well, last week, I think it was last Wednesday or something, if you sent them down, there was a Santa Claus who was going to come and sit with every animal there and take a picture with it. And so here's the pictures of Truman with Santa Claus. All I could think about at the end of the day was this poor guy who probably makes minimum wage, dresses up like Santa Claus, and doesn't even get to have kids on him or be in a mall around regular people. He's sitting inside of his doggy daycare all day with one by one these big, smelly dogs. By the way, Truman probably
I just wonder
peed
what
on
he
him,
smelled like
because
when he
that's
got
all
home.
Truman does when he's at this daycare center. Because we have a, it has doggy camps, so you can actually watch your dog.
Oh,
go
right,
down there.
yeah.
And we watch Truman. Yeah, all Truman does is walk around and pee on everything. So
How old
this
is
poor guy?
How old is Truman?
We're not sure. He's a rescue, but they tell us they thought he was 4 or 5 when we got him. But I think
Well,
he
that's a
was-
good looking dog for a rescue. For a chocolate lab, that doesn't. I thought that was.
Oh, he's beautiful.
Yeah, no, he's a good looking
He's
chocolate.
beautiful. Paul, you should see the picture of Truman riding in Jeff's 2-seater little sports car.
I'm waiting for that. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
I'll show it to you here. I haven't. I did it again recently because Valerie was out of town, and so I had to go pick him up at that daycare. And he gets in there, squats all over the stick shift. By the way, and I got to push him out of the way, and he's stinky, and he said, "I can't drive. I can't shift the gears."
Good thing you're not doing the Starbucks drive-through for the pup cup.
Yeah.
You go to Starbucks, you order your drink, and then you order a pup cup for your dog.
What does the dog drink? The
No,
coffee?
it drinks whipped cream. A pup cup. A pup cup is an espresso cup full of whipped cream.
Yeah.
Man,
And then after drinking that cup of whipped cream, you want to get them out of the car real quickly.
whipped right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Once it goes through Truman's system, by the way, when
Yeah.
it comes out the other end, it could be anything. Just a few minutes ago, literally 5 minutes before we sat down here, he walked up and he looked up at me and he looked down and he went like that, like and out of his nose or something came a piece of kibble, a piece of dog food.
Oh my
Hits
God.
the floor. And I go, Valerie, go pick that up. And she goes, kiss my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when Truman became your dog.
This was the only reason I even talk about that Santa Claus was first because I know that Mike if it was one of us the first thing we'd do is we'd be at the bar getting hammered after spending all day getting him dogs sitting on our laps.
I'd have a straw to a little bladder full of gin inside my Santa suit.
Oh my God! And the second reason I talked about that was because it's the lead into our special report today. That I've been, we've been working on all week. We've been, strategizing, doing intensive research and, calling our correspondents in 30 states to get news reports and to talk about, yes, animals gone wild. Because if there's been one thing that has been a theme of this podcast since the beginning is that animals in the United States have gone nutty and I think they're ready to take over the world, take us over and enslave us. The first animal that has caught my, in my view, is sneaky and ready to spring at any time is a cat. Any cat, by the way.
Yeah.
When thinking about it, I don't think they're capable of taking over humanity like other animals might because cats are too independent. They don't run in herds necessarily.
They're not pack animals. No.
They're not pack animals. But they are really dangerous and crazy. And there was a story I got this week from Reddit, which this is all this guy wrote. He wrote, "I love my cat and I am terrified to go near my cat. He slept on my chest. He's groomed and cuddles with my first cat. But he also ripped me up so bad that a major hospital ER nurse's first words upon seeing me were, 'Jesus Christ.'"
He got exactly what he deserves for having a cat living in his house.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
Yeah, you can't have. Cats are nasty. That's what they are.
They're
trust
nasty.
a cat. Yeah, you can't trust them. But Mike, I will bet $100 you have owned a cat in your life.
Never in my life.
Okay.
No. They would get the Christy Noam treatment if I ever had a cat.
Paul, have you owned a cat?
I think I had a cat when I was first in Los Angeles. Yeah. I think there was one in a group of roommates that, we had one.
We had a cat when we lived in L.A. too, and it got eaten by a coyote.
That happens. Yeah, definitely.
And then you have to explain to your kids what happened to the cat.
Yeah.
The Rainbow Bridge, sorry. And then after a neighbor had called us up and said, "Hey, I just saw a coyote walk past the house with your cat in its mouth."
Yay! It worked. I left the door open just a crack, and it worked.
Well, you didn't even have to leave the door open and a crack. Those coyotes would come in the house and sneak in the house and take it.
They
if
would.
could.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so the second animal besides cats is bats. And again, bats are like cats. They're really
Creepy.
nasty and creepy, and they're sort of like you feel like they're full of disease and everything.
Yeah, they are.
They are, yeah. And we did a story some time ago about the young couple who bought that house back in somewhere in an
Seattle.
island, Seattle, Woodbey Island. That's right.
Yeah.
And they got the house, and it had some strange noises in the walls, and they found out there's about 100,000 bats living inside them, and pooping all over the place, and they had flying in and out of the windows and everything.
It was terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, I had the story about the bat that came in the living room one night. Yeah.
Yeah, but you captured yours with a little Tupperware.
I did catch it with the Tupperware and slid the paper right underneath the Tupperware, and it was like, carried it outside. I had it resolved in less than 10 minutes.
Oh, bull crap. I'd like to see that.
It,
Piece of paper and a
it
Tupperware.
definitely was a bat, though. And now I'm for sure closing the screen door when the lights are on outside and it's dark outside. Yeah.
All right, but the worst, it's not the bats, it's not the cats, but the worst, the ones that scare me are the ones I'm going to talk about next. In order, first is raccoons. Now, raccoons, people think of raccoons as being something that lives in the woods. No, they live everywhere. They live in every major city. They live on underneath your house. They live in, in metropolises like Los Angeles, New York. They live everywhere.
Yeah.
And they travel in packs.
And they travel in packs, and at nighttime you can see their little eyes shining. And they dig around. They're looking for food all the time. But this story that I got, and there's some pictures here, 100 raccoons descended on a woman's home outside Seattle. Man, that's Seattle. I'm not moving up to Seattle. It sounds like they got all kinds of
Bats and raccoons.
rodents all over the place. And these raccoons circled the house, and they basically trapped the lady inside. And so she called for help. Animal control comes out there. They don't know what to do because they probably want to go out and shoot them all, but they can't.
Yeah.
And so they got to try to catch them all.
Yeah.
And then the cops find out that this woman had been feeding them for years.
Duh.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, you don't feed them. So if you see a raccoon around, the thing to do is to skin them out of there. Don't be putting food out for them.
Yeah. That's why God made shotguns.
Shotgun. Well, they didn't, but I don't even think you wanted to go to try shooting them. They're evil. They'll go back and get more of their friends. They'll surround them, wait for you to come out of the house. Like Paul's better half went out of the house and they surrounded her car. All right, but of all the animals that we've talked about, oh no, I've still got one more after this. This is the second worst kind of animal. First is squirrels.
Yeah.
I think first of all, there's about 1 billion of them in the United States. This first story, a woman in Christmas time leaves out her Christmas cookies, and she wakes up in the middle of the night and she thinks, oh, shoot, there's going to be roaches or maybe some ants or something because they left those cookies sitting out. She walks out there, and sitting there, perched on top of her table, eating her Christmas cookies is this giant squirrel. And then it's crazy because it had so much sugar that it just starts flying around, running all over the house, and then according to her, it trapped her. It stood by the door so she couldn't leave. And so she grabs her phone, calls the cops. A cop shows up, a New York City cop shows up, and he goes in there. And this thing he's thinking, oh, just a squirrel, I'll go grab it. Yeah. It's going nuts, and it's flying all over on the mantelpiece and all over, and jumps on him and starts biting on his arm.
Oh my God.
And then gets behind the stove where the poor cop has got to get in there fishing around back there to get this rabid, crazy squirrel out of there.
What was the scene in the Woody Allen movie where the lobster got behind the refrigerator and he took a cup of melted butter and held it up, tried to coax the lobster out.
Yeah, that's funny. I forgot about that. That was Annie Hall.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
That was great.
And then this for all of us, our boomer fans out there. In 2016, a squirrel ravaged a retirement home in Florida. It ran through the front door of the Volusia Senior Home, ran straight for the activity room where several elderly people were quietly sitting playing chess, doing puzzles, and reading books. The squirrel began jumping on people, biting into their flesh and scratching them with claws.
Jesus.
Those who could move ran out of the room screaming, but the few immobile people were stuck without a way to escape. So we had to go in there.
Became giant hors d'oeuvres.
Everybody's sitting there in a wheelchair, like, get me the hell out of here. Like, squirrels chewing on you.
Squirrels chewing on you.
Squirrel. I don't want to be in some senior citizen home in the next few years, sitting there in my wheelchair and having some squirrel chewing on me.
I don't want to be in one under any
Yeah, me.
circumstance.
I'm with Mike on that.
Where you guys think you're going to end up sitting at home all the rest of your life? You're going to be there. I'm going to be there with you, the three of us.
Sitting on a porch.
The lights are just going to go out one day, and it's going to be no senior home.
Oh, please, they'll have you all. Mary will have you committed in before that, before you need to be there. Valerie always threatens that. She always looks at me with that side eye, like I don't trust her.
Yeah, like I can do the paperwork.
I mean, that senior citizen home.
I was going to say, did you check the box for long-term care, Jeff? No,
Yeah, no,
I did.
Do not resuscitate.
I don't mind that. If I don't resuscitate, fine. I just don't want in that senior citizen home eating pablum, playing chess with old guys like you.
Who's he calling old? Oh, me.
Yeah, you. All right, but forgetting the squirrels for a minute and the raccoons, and there was a polar bear story I didn't even get to, or the bats or the cats. The ultimate is what has me concerned and has me on high alert is the
Yes.
monkeys.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that just from your story, Paul, about that monkey island back there in
We're
South
still
Carolina.
missing 4. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gone, long gone.
Yeah.
One of them's named Caesar, and right now they're up in the mountains gathering guns up to attack.
They've opened their own recruitment camp.
The funny part I like is that the CEO of the company will no longer give press conferences since there were only 4 left missing. He's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
That's because they don't have any idea where those 4 are.
None.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, those are the 4 that speak English and they're plotting
Yeah.
things at this moment.
Yeah. And they're worth $8,000
Yeah,
a piece.
don't forget that.
So he's got to figure out how to balance the books.
Well, they're on their way out to that monkey island to get the other 4,000 of them out of there, and so they can
Yeah.
attack Greenville, South Carolina, South Kakalaki. So just to show you what to look for, Mike and I have assembled a few videos here. The first thing to watch out for is they're trying to fit in. Look at this one here who's wearing this outfit so he'll just fit in as he's walking around. I like the little pink hat on that guy right there.
Yeah. He's actually the boss. He's just kind of taking it all in very quietly.
No, that's this guy. This is the guy that is the boss right here. See the guy just sitting there, just.
Oh, he's the sergeant at arms.
Yeah.
He's the sergeant at arms. Guy in the pink hat, by the way, used to live with Richard Simmons. That's where he got his wardrobe highlights from.
Oh my God! And then they do stuff. If you notice this, that they're starting to do things like humans do it. They better watch out, like these guys that can clearly know how to ride bikes. So that's what to watch out for. And this last picture, of course, is one I think, Mike, I've shown you before, is a picture of me and my college roommate Scott and Eric B. I won't even use his last name, Paul. When we were in Tijuana and on top of that rooftop bar, and we met with one of the monkey leaders down there.
One of the head monkeys.
He was going to tell us what's going on in monkey world, and instead he just got drunk, and you can see he's making faces while we had him.
He was the one that was smoking a cigarette, wasn't he?
Yeah. Smoking cigarettes and drinking a beer when we got there. And then it took a few minutes before we realized that sitting off to the side was a guy who was like his trainer or something.
Yeah.
And all he wanted was us to sit and have a picture taken and give him $20.
Yeah.
So we sit down there, as you can see in the picture, and we put the monkey in Scott's lap. and the monkey went like that, started making a face, so that stuck out his tongue at us. But he's one of the leaders too. They probably secretly they go, but really they think they're talking English. They go home and quote Shakespeare to their wives and they're after us. All right. If you're interested, ladies and gentlemen, in more of those unsettling videos like we had on, if you go to YouTube, there's a site called Crazy Monkey Fails You Don't Want to Miss. Honestly, that's the name.
They're
of it.
priceless.
It's classic. Yeah.
The one I love the two riding the bike. I love the one on the back. He's having a ball. He's like hanging out. He's like, yeah.
Hey. And they were probably just about to make an escape. They're just waiting for the door to open. And
Well, they were looking for a hole in the fence.
They're looking for Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Monkey Island. All right. We're going to follow up on a story that we did last week with that scam. So the woman, if you remember, she's driving along in her car. She gets a call. First, it was purported to be a cop, and then the cop's boss, the Rockville, Maryland Police Department. Then an FBI agent got on with her and said that the cartel had got her information, and they asked her if she would help them catch these guys, become an asset for the FBI, and she wanted, being a good citizen, she said sure, and then eventually, after a few months, the FBI agent persuades her to take all the money out of her account at Morgan Stanley and put it somewhere in a safe box, and of course, within minutes it was gone. She had been scammed out of $595,000. That would even pay for Mike's car, but still a lot of money. And then, Mike, you had reported that Morgan Stanley had, in fact,
They tried to hit it off.
they tried to stop it.
Yeah, they
But
tried
she
to
was-
talk her out of it. And she was adamant that she had to do it immediately.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, she was so suckered into it. That became such a real thing to her that she couldn't fathom that that she had to help the FBI. She
Yeah.
had to, no matter what.
Yeah.
So here's the follow-up, and it's even more disgusting. Judith, her name is Judith Boyvan. She now owes the IRS more than $137,000 in the state of Maryland, $42,000 for the 2023 tax year. That's on top of the $600,000, almost $600,000 she lost in the scam.
Yeah. Yeah, because as far as they're concerned, she took it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has to pay taxes.
Yeah.
So she can't cover her tax bill and may have to sell her home. And though her husband and her still have Social Security and some savings, their annual income has been slashed from more than $70,000 a year to $31,000 because of the stolen retirement funds.
Just,
Now, the fact that they stayed married to this is pretty incredible, because if I had been the bonehead who had given $595,000 to some FBI agent, Valerie would have planted I don't know what she would have done to me. She would have poisoned me or something, but she would have killed me for sure and just said to hell with it.
yeah.
Right?
They'd call it hoisted on your own petard.
Well, in Valerie's case, it wouldn't have been a petard. It would have been a baseball bat or something. She would have hoisted me on it.
Yeah.
Nice knowing you.
Whatever. All right, Mike, and like we say, don't interact with anyone online. Question
Don't answer the
everything.
phone. Don't answer your doorbell. Don't roll your window down in your car.
Yeah.
Basically, don't leave your house.
Certainly don't interact with anybody, especially if they're trying to tell you some concoct some story. No matter how interesting it may seem to you, it's probably a fake.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something about, we all get emails from the phone company, Verizon's, or, our cable people and or Infinities and such. And half of these are just scams, right? Looking to get your reply.
Yeah.
But one simple thing to do is if you just hover over that from address, it will reveal like who the website, the email address, and it's never Comcast.com. It's always some bogus thing. You can tell instantly whether this is real or fake and just delete it, just get rid of these things.
Yeah, you can. I know that comes up in every AARP article about scams. They always say to do that, hover over that thing and make sure if it says if it doesn't say .gov, it's not from the government.
Yeah.
So but like I get texts. I got some this week, the other day, and all they say is, "Hey, I'm going through my files. Is this you?"
Yeah.
That was the title text, and the next one comes in and says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Delete.
Delete.
Yeah. The one
And
I keep
want to
getting.
answer back, but I don't.
Yeah, the one I keep getting is your shipment is delayed due to lack of proper address.
Got one
information.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second page is for your credit card number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next time I won't give them my credit card like I did last time.
Don't give me your Discover
All
card.
right. So Paul, now we're going into the part of the show where we let you talk about your horrible experiences working on an airline. This was a classic. This guy named Xavier Torrance, who was on the second leg of his trip from West Virginia to Tampa, Florida. Now, second leg.
Second leg.
I was like, why? What did he take the first flight from West Virginia to what, Tennessee, and then another flight?
That's a 1 hour flight.
Yeah, it's like, well, he's on his second leg. Anyway, he's on his second leg when someone gets in the seat behind him and decides and pulls out a big tuna melt sandwich. And according to Torrance, who's 25 years old, he's almost ready to pass out. He says it was stinking up the whole plane. Of course, he posted it on TikTok, got over 700,000 views, but not everybody agreed with him. There was like a healthy discussion as to whether or not you can eat what you want on a plane and leave me alone, or whether or not it's just bad form to bring on something that stinks like that that it's going to make people crazy.
That's what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, remember? The guy brought a can of tuna on and opened it on the plane. And that's nasty. I don't care how you cut it, that's nasty.
Well, we've gotten to the point where we're not serving food, or else they're running an exceptional amount of money for some little piece of food or scraps of food, to get chips and, some cheese, crackers, and fruit or something. But yeah, people bring things on. I mean, look, I would go to Seattle and think the best lunch ever in the concourse is like fish and chips. But I would seriously think about taking fish and chips on and eating it with my seat partner, who I don't know.
No.
Well, when you're on those long flights, what is the attendants eat?
Oh, this is for another day. Total subject. This is eating over a trash can on, every flight. This is, just. I was the only flight attendant, I swear, in the United States who never traveled with food. I found the whole thing just disgusting. I was down at the bar as soon as we got in, and then I'd be having the pizza. I probably had pizza like 3 nights a week or something, It's like that, because there are so many choices of food when you're on the road. It's like it's pizza, it's chicken wings, it's a burger, it's a salad, or that's it. Those are your basic food, especially during COVID. But I will tell you one thing as a crew member not to do, which is, and this happened once leaving Reno, and I had a junior flight attendant with me in the back, and some people got on, they were really happy, and they were going on and say like, "Hey, you want some cookies?" And I'm like and I looked, and Junior looked at him like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love some cookies. I haven't had lunch all day." And I'm like going, "Junior, you don't want those cookies." Because, of course, the cookies were laced, and I tell that to everybody because, when you're 25 years old and a flight attendant, you're not thinking about those things. I'm going like, you do that, you're completely loopy. Forget it, Like, look at them. And, of course, by the time they got to Las Vegas, look at them. You don't want to be like them.
Yeah. I don't want anybody eating a bunch of asparagus either and going in the bathroom and stinking up the whole place like asparagus or anything.
Anything.
I don't know. And then the other story that was that came up was not about food on a flight, but Paul, is that in your opinion, is it mansplaining when a woman's in the middle seat and the guy next to her puts his foot in her space, basically in front of her, maybe spreading out so he's squashing her?
This has to do with the same thing with the center seat as it does with the aisle, because if you work as a flight attendant with the aisle, don't put your foot in the aisle, okay? It's like, stay in your lane.
The woman's okay, right, correct, in the sense that she's got a little bit of space in the center seat. It's like foot wide, and she just wants to put her feet there and doesn't need this guy, pressing her all over the place.
Yeah.
I know that feeling too, of being in the middle seat. You don't want anybody.
Oh my gosh, sometimes I fly like this when I'm in the center seat just so I don't, go the other way. I'm like going, okay, and I'm just, I'll be fine. I'll get there. Okay.
You must have been flying with Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always on the aisle. My leg is always in the aisle, and I'm on the aisle. I don't sit anywhere else.
He's like in the starting blocks. He is out of there.
You're ready.
That bell rings at the end of the flight, and I don't care if I'm in row 30. I'm elbowing my way. I'm going to be the first one off. All right, here's another important story, airline-wise. No, was it airline? No, this has to do with this is another story, but it has to do with bars, not airplanes. If you want to smell like Mike and I, specifically Mike, you might want to get Miller High Life's new cologne. By the way, I didn't know Miller High Life. Oh, you got a Miller there.
Yeah.
You can dunk it on yourself, and you'll smell like this. It's a cologne called Dive Bar Fume. It blends cedarwood and patchouli to recreate the smell of a bar counter. And then it combines the scent of tobacco and leather to invoke those worn-in leather stools. And then it has sea salt to replicate a basket of fries and popcorn. And finally, the smell of a Champac, whatever that is, blossom, to recreate the smell of a Miller High Life. I'm not wearing anything that has the smell of a bar stool.
Anything that had the word Miller in the label, I'm not buying. It's personal hygiene product.
I
The
should sell my
champagne
own
of
cologne.
beers.
I'll sell my own bar cologne. It would smell like it's the smell of red wine that's spilled on my shirt. That's what it smells like. Or just rub some beer nuts on your neck before you go out.
Yeah.
They don't even sell beer nuts anymore, do they?
Yeah.
Well, they must. I'm sure you can find them.
Those were good. Every bar in Ohio, they had two things. They had hard-boiled eggs in a big glass jar. and
Pickled eggs. Yeah,
Yeah.
pickled eggs and beer nuts.
and beer nuts. And you could
Yeah.
sit there, and they didn't care if you ate. If they were free, you could go nuts and eat and smell like crap all night. It's amazing that any woman would ever think twice about, thinking about kissing you if you were sitting there and smell like eggs and beer nuts.
And you thought you were doing a hell of a job dancing till some of them stepped on your hands.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. On that note, we'll go to the 15 slang words that Gen Zs are using right now, what they mean. I didn't copy all 15 down here because, frankly, who gives a crap what Gen Zs are saying? They're so ridiculous. Listen to some of these words. Mike and I know what Riz is, R-I-Z-Z, because we have Riz.
We had Riz.
Confidence, charm, and we're romantically successful. Of course, I was last romantically successful in the Nixon administration, so I had Riz back then at least, but we still have it, I guess. Ick is a turnoff, like that dive bar fume. If a person ate something, they executed something flawlessly, like we ate this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that's mid is mediocre, like
Yeah.
Paul's haircut is mid.
Yeah. It's like they're just too damn lazy to go ahead and say the whole phrase.
Yes.
You know? Jesus.
Well, here, this is like, I do like this one. This is called Delulu. If you're Delulu, like Mike and I are at happy hour, you're delusional.
That makes sense.
Now here's what us boomers say. We use the word stupid, as in Gen Zers are stupid. We use the word broke, which means no money, as in that Gen Zer is broke. He lives at home.
Yeah.
And finally, we use the word round, as in another round.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
It's time for, of course, Florida Man.
Florida man.
Please don't sing. Please don't sing.
Oh, it's time for Florida Man. Singing's not yet. Florida Man. This is the head. Well, I don't want to give you a headline because it'll destroy this. I don't want to give you the headline because it'll ruin the story. But according to Hillsborough, Florida County Sheriff's Office, 2 deputies pulled over a car. They found the passenger sitting in the back seat. His name is Fabricio Jimenez, and he's got white powder all over his nose, as well as a small bag of cocaine sitting on his lap.
Yeah. Well,
And guess what he said? The cocaine's not mine, officer. He's got it on his nose and in his lap. So they swab his nose, and it tested positive for cocaine. And also in his backpack was 250 grams of marijuana and 13 Xanax pills.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Lucky 13.
All right, that's enough for today. We've done everything. I'm going to go once more to show you 2 fools that an oven mitt is not going over anybody's head. and it's not fitting on anybody's feet. And you're totally
That's a-
wrong about that, and you won't admit it because you're bullheaded and stubborn.
Tiny little oven mitt. No, you're 2-1. You're 2-1 outvoted.
You'll never find another
no.
love like mine. Don't be trying to interrupt my singing, by the way.
God,
I'm under contract. I can make 50 cents more.
your singing is enough of an interruption.
Okay. Please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike and Paul will come to your house, and if you give Mike tequila and Paul enough vodka, they'll sing White Christmas for you out in front of your house.
And give you a shiatsu massage.
You do a shiatsu massage. Oh my God, this is for two of you. Go to that senior citizen home and find some old people you can give shiatsu massages to. The way for you guys to volunteer here at the holidays.
I'm going to chase the squirrels out, and then we'll give them a massage.
That just scares the hell out of me. Being end up stuck in a wheelchair, you can't do anything anyways.
No,
And then there's like in a horror movie, you got squirrels nibbling on you.
My biggest fear is still
All right,
going to be the
email.
alligator. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I have that alligator. We'll show that next time. When my son was living in South Carolina, he said that the things that scared him the most were A, alligators, which you see them crossing the street all over the place.
yeah.
Or B, those flying cockroaches, otherwise known as palmetto bugs,
Yeah.
that were just, just like make you sick just to see them.
Yeah.
All right. Email us at oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We love getting your comments. I want you to write and tell me that Mike and Paul are both wrong, that those are not oven mitts, and that that's ridiculous and they're silly. And that, by the way, denigrates that poor woman who spent hours probably making those things to put over her head and hands. And
Out of oven mitts. Yeah, she made them
Yeah.
out of oven mitts.
They're fingernails made out of implements. Yeah.
If you don't like looking at this too, like I don't, catch us on Apple or Spotify. And Paul, you need a shave.
I
by the
do,
way.
but
I'm
you
the
see,
only
I
one here who
didn't.
gets away with
I haven't gone out since I talked to you guys last week.
it. I've gone out.
No, I haven't been. I haven't been in
not?
civilization since last I spoke to you.
He doesn't want to get scammed, so he's not leaving
No, I
his house.
just walking the dogs on the beach. That's all I've done, and drinking Miller High Lifes.
Well,
Just kidding.
Mike and I were at happy hour last Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday, yeah. Oh, that was
Yeah.
fun. That was fun. All right, and check out our Substack. Every week we give you a task to perform. It'll make you a better person. I was going to close with a song, but clearly it's not.
No.
They don't want to hear anything. You'll never find another love like mine.
I'm going to get my trumpet out.
All right, everybody, have a good week. We'll see you next week. And Paul, stay sober. Don't have too many of those Miller High Lifes. Mike,
Adios.
take care, my friend.
Yep. See you later.
you.
Thanks, everyone.